Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
First the High Court, then the Supreme Court, and now a white paper setting out in detail the government's actual negotiation plans over the how and the when of Brexit. Theresa May wanted none of it, but she's been forced into the latest concession after some Conservative MPs joined opposition calls for a formal document making the process clear. Labour said it should be published before MPs vote on triggering Article 50 ahead of the government's March deadline. Our political correspondent, Michael Crick, has this report.
Overnight, government sources had been dismissing the idea of a white paper, and the Daily Mail today even wrote of a white paper plot by Tory rebels to force a U-turn. But when Theresa May came to question time, a helpful question from a friendly Conservative enabled her now to join the plot.
I set out that bold plan for a global Britain last week, and I recognise there is an appetite in this House to see that plan set out in a white paper. My honourable friend's question, the question from my honourable friend, the member from Broxtowe, last week, in the same vein, and I can confirm to the House that our plan will be set out in a white paper published in this House.
Some opposition leaders would have pounced and mocked this climb down. But Mr Corbyn wasn't quick enough to drop his scripted question about yesterday's court judgment.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has wasted 80 days between the time of the original judgment and the appeal, and has now finally admitted today, after pressure from all sides, that there's going to be a white paper. Could we know when this white paper is going to be available to us? And why it's taken so long to get it?
She wouldn't give a date, but the former SNP leader says publication must be before MPs vote, which is likely in the next 2 weeks.
You'd expect to see demonstrated in the white paper they've done some thinking about where they're leading the country or attempting to lead the country. And if they don't publish it before the parliamentary votes, then the obvious question is, what are they frightened of? What are they trying to hide? So we say, white paper, they've conceded that because the arithmetic didn't look good for them in the Commons. So let's have the white paper before the parliamentary vote so people actually this time know what they're voting on.
After the court ruling, Labour threatened hand-to-hand combat on the Article 50 bill and still have plenty of other amendments to propose.
Well, we haven't seen the bill yet, but we want amendments about the need for the government to report back to Parliament. Yesterday, the Supreme Court said that Parliament is sovereign. That's going to be meaningful. And we want to put down amendments dealing with the vote on the final deal. The Prime Minister has said there will be a vote on the final deal. It's very important that's a meaningful vote.
In effect, the government has a Commons majority of about 30 right now. That's if one includes the normally supportive Democratic Unionists from Ulster. And the whole question of publishing a white paper on Brexit was the one area where the government looked most likely to lose. But a white paper doesn't actually have to be that substantial. Some white papers are just a few pages. So all Downing Street needs to do is rejig Theresa May's speech from last week and perhaps top and tail it. Michael Crick, Channel 4 News, Westminster.
Now, the Prime Minister has decided that she is prepared to publish a more detailed government paper on the strategy for Brexit. Theresa May said she recognised there was an appetite for a white paper after a number of Conservative MPs joined Labour in asking for a paper to be published. The Supreme Court ruled yesterday that Mrs May could not begin the Brexit process without Parliament's approval. Our Deputy Political Editor, John Pienaar, has more details.
Remember him in the goggles, a once dominant PM out on his ear when Britain chose Brexit.
Then what happens next?
David Cameron's doing charity work now, today visiting a medical research lab.
Are you worried about defeat, Prime Minister?
Now his successor's got her hands full with the tactical battle for Brexit. And today Theresa May kept a half step ahead of her critics. She'd outlined her Brexit game plan in a big speech. They wanted it in black and white. And as the time came for questions, a concession. She'd held off promising MPs a policy paper, but now...
I can confirm to the House that our plan will be set out in a white paper published for this House.
Jeremy Corbyn was caught on the hop.
Could we know when this white paper is going to be available to us?
But he ploughed on.
Withdraw the threats to destroy the social structure of this country by turning us into the bargain basement she clearly threatens.
But the Prime Minister's kept the initiative, and the Brexit paper is unlikely to tell MPs more than they know now. It was an easy concession for Theresa May to make, but Tory MPs worried about Brexit welcomed it. She's also keen to appear ahead of the game when she visits Donald Trump in the White House later this week. And she told MPs she won't duck policy differences.
I am not afraid to speak frankly to a President of the United States. I am able to do that because we have that special relationship.
MPs queued to offer issues where she could take on the new president.
He must abide by and not withdraw from the Paris Climate Change Treaty.
President Trump has repeatedly said that he will bring back torture as an instrument of policy. When she sees him on Friday, will the Prime Minister make clear that in no circumstances will she permit Britain to be dragged into facilitating that torture?
Will the Prime Minister tell President Trump that she is not prepared to lower our food and safety standards or to open health systems for privatisation?
Her answer, she and her government would stand their ground.
We will put UK interests and UK values first.
Another former Prime Minister's been in Brussels. Tony Blair knows getting close to the White House at the wrong time can end badly. MPs on all sides are anxious. Theresa May remembers that lesson. John Pienaar, BBC News, West.